Yeah, right now, I mean, running the late model stuff with Bass Pro Shops. They've been on this year, and been a big supporter for so far. And Clariance Technologies over on the Xfinity side, they're doing the next, or I guess my last 6 races, which are 5 more. So had Chuck season on for the first 2, and now we got Clariance on for the last 6. So for sure, I mean, without the partners and those people, you're pretty much dead in the water.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So, what's your favorite racetrack, and what's your best story behind racing at it?
Yeah, probably my favorite. It's probably Nashville or Rockford, honestly. Which Nashville's still around, Rockford's gone now, or in the process of being gone. We won our second Super Late Model race at Nashville in the North-South Shootout, I think it was. That was a pretty big deal for us, as being our second win, and it was our own car and all that. Beating the really good, strong teams was a pretty big deal, and it just seems like we always run pretty decent there. It's a fun place for me. And Rockford, I'd raced there 2 or 3 times, and I think we had a few second and third finishes. So that track was really good to me. My dad grew up racing there, so it just kind of fits in well.
Definitely. Do you want to hear a good story I have from Nashville when I went to a Grand Prix? But it was the street course, not the oval. You want to hear my...
Yeah.
In 2021, I went to the very first IndyCar race in Nashville, and that was the first weekend I've had as a race fan where I was exposed to multiple divisions of racing rather than just one series, because they also had Stadium Super Trucks and GT America and Trans Am along with the IndyCar race. And so I entered the track with a friend of mine that went with me to the race, and she didn't know much about racing, so she was asking me a lot of questions. And after getting through the line and showing our tickets, we enter the track, and I take her to the nearest empty field, and while chatting with her about it, I find myself on the ground after being hit by what was unquestionably a golf cart, and guess who was behind the wheel?
Who?
Roger Penske.
Oh, no way.
It was, and I remember being on the ground wondering, okay, who just ran into me? You know, shocked and startled. And then I look up thinking, and then I look up thinking that I was going to be really pissed off, you know, because I was in pain. But then I saw it was Penske, and I was just like, my attitude changed, as you can tell.
Wow.
I asked him for a picture, and he obliged. You know, it was very nice. He's always very fan-friendly, you know, but
yeah.
But it was sort of like, when I stood up and saw who it was, I was like, no worries, man, it's an honor, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
He's an icon for sure.
Definitely an icon. And after the whole thing was said and done and Penske went back to his business and all that, I looked over to my friend who was stunned, and I said to her, should we just quit the rest of the weekend? How can we top this experience?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have you had any moments like that of starstruck?
I mean, I guess you could say some, but just being around racing so long, it's kind of just the norm, I guess, right? I mean, I get to pretty much more or less just hang out with Dale Jr. Every week and drive for him. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff kind of went away over the years. Just seems like you kind of just, I don't know, get used to it.
Yeah, for sure. So, have you ever driven on road courses?
Yep, I ran some Bandolero and Legend Car stuff growing up on road courses, and I ran 2 TA2 races on Mid-Ohio and Road America. I think we finished 4th at Mid-Ohio, and we were running second. We got wrecked at Road America, so definitely have had some road course experience. Wouldn't say I'm an amazing road course racer by any means, but I've been able to cut some laps and really learn it. For sure. Is TA2 in the Trans Am division, I believe, or? Yep.
Wow, I didn't know you drove in Trans Am. That's impressive.
Yep. Yeah, we ran. I got to run twice with Scott Legacy racing last year, so it was a good experience.
Yeah, and in that field you had legends like Tony Ave driving in that series, didn't you?
Yeah, I believe so. I honestly didn't get too familiar with many of the guys other than teammates I had, so probably I honestly just didn't really look too hard at it.
Yeah, you might remember, but Tony drove a couple races for the team that your dad drove at the road courses, like, I think it was Front Row Motorsports, I believe.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then Tony, I think, retired when the global recession happened from NASCAR competition, and he's been in Trans Am ever since, I believe.
Oh, nice. That's cool. It's a good little series for sure.
It is. Have you ever had a moment on the track where someone's wrecked you or nudged you for whatever reason and you lose positions and you try to go after the person to wreck him, or no?
Yeah, definitely. There's been a few occasions for sure. Definitely not proud of them, but I mean, sometimes it's just your madness gets the best of you and you get them back. So obviously you don't want to have to do that, but sometimes it's just got to be done.
Yeah, sometimes you're the bat and sometimes you're the ball, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, have you interacted with big names in NASCAR so far ever since you've competed?
I mean, I wouldn't really say too much, honestly. Maybe a few people. Honestly, it's been such a blur these last few months, being so busy doing all this Xfinity racing and late model racing. That kind of haven't really thought about it, I guess you'd say. Yeah, probably. I know there's been a few, but definitely it's just been so much so quick.
Yeah, for sure. So, what's your favorite and funniest memory behind the wheel of any car in general?
Man, I never thought about that. Probably the funniest memory that I have was running with my brother in the kart and stuff, the dirt track, and he thought he had one race won. And as we were coming across the start finish line, I came out of nowhere and passed him. And he was pretty pissed about that one. That's about it, though. Honestly, there's gosh, I've never thought about that.
Now that you brought that up, I gotta tell you from my karting days when I raced against my brother for the first time, if you want to hear it. Alright, so that series I competed in that I mentioned earlier, where I dabbled in go-karts, I was a pretty good competitor, and I had a championship year in 2013 where I won all but 3 of the races on the calendar, and one of them I ended up beating my brother. He wasn't much into racing as much as I was, but I persuaded him to give karting a try, you know. So we went out to a track in Tucson, and he qualified second, which actually shocked me and himself, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so he qualified second, was on the front row, and I qualified fifth, and when the race went green, he pulled away from everybody, and it was obvious he had the fastest car in the field and probably should have won the pole, you know?
Yeah.
But he pulled away, and I followed through in the next few turns and reached second, and then over the next few laps, he kept pulling further and further away, and I thought, for a few minutes, I thought that it was going to be a 1-2 finish with him winning and me second, because it was only a 25-lap race. And when we get to lap 4, however, I crossed the start-finish line on the front stretch and was going through the S's, and the next corner, he was stalled on the track, banging his fist on the wheel in frustration.
Oh no.
And that's when I knew he had a part failure or something, and so the minute I went past him, I waved my hand as if to say goodbye.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sort of gloating a little bit, you know.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then I ended up going on to win, but I admit that when I stood on the podium, as he came up to congratulate me, I just told him straight up, this was your race, bro, I shouldn't be here, you know.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to continue after that, though, but, you know, it's not for everyone.
No, for sure.